Hello, welcome to another live. Here we are every week, and we have this live class. So, today we're going to talk about self care for coaches, though this is relevant for whether you're not a coach or like whether you're a therapist or whether you're just have another job. And this will be self care for in general, though it's especially important in terms of therapy and coaching and any professional in the field that is seeing people throughout the day, many different sessions, and they want to have some extra tools to really look after themselves. Because if we want to be the best that we can be, then it's important to look after ourselves. And I'm talking about this from a place of being in this wellness space for 12 years professionally. And I've seen a lot, learned a lot, made many mistakes, and this has been a constant thing that I've been working on, like how to really ground myself, how to really come back into the body and to really give the best sessions that I can. And so I'm not coming from this place of doing everything 100% perfect all the time. Like I'm talking from this place of like I've made the mistakes, and and I'm sharing from this place of having learned the mistakes. So self-care, this is so important. Like we have a shower, we care for the physical body most days, if not every day, and or clean the teeth every day. And then also we care for the emotional body. Sometimes like we go to therapy. Some people do more or less than others. And then we also care for the mental body. So mindfulness, meditation, all of that. How often do we care for the energetic body? So it's been proven many times that everything's made up of energy, everything's made up of vibrating particles in space. We have this electromagnetic field. Every single living being has that, and the plants and everything. Like, this is not some woo woo magical thinking, like, this is proven by science. I won't go into all of the science here in this live because it'll take too long, though that's something you can explore in your own time. Though it's important to remember that we're not just a physical material thing. Like there's life flowing through us, there's energy flowing through us. And when we're also tending to the needs of the energetic body and really paying attention to that as we go through sessions with clients or as we go about our day, that's really a wonderful way to care for ourselves, because often that's overlooked. And when we overlook that, if we're seeing people constantly throughout the day, like listening to people's problems and challenges as they come into sessions, and we're not paying attention to that, we can end up feeling completely burnt out, extremely tired, sluggish, like not having the energy to move forward, because it's like we're carrying energetically, we're carrying all the backpacks of all the clients, and we don't need to do that. We can drop those, we can let those go. And it's important to do so to really cleanse ourselves at the end of the day and let that go. For some people, it's more important than others. It really depends on your energetic makeup and like how sensitive you are. I know for me personally, like after experiencing burnout and doing everything the wrong way, I then realized that actually like I need to do this every single day. Like this is fundamental for me to be able to do this type of work and this job. So this is something that I have a particular practice, which I'll go into later, and it's so important. Otherwise, I just can't function and I can't do the sessions. So I wanted to make this really easy and just to break it down in a very simple way. And I was thinking about this and I thought, okay, well, yes, with the senses, like we can see things. Like most of us, we have connection with all the senses. So we see things, we hear things, we feel things, we smell things, and we taste things. So we can use this as a framework to then really notice, okay, what sounds are supportive? What movement and environment is supportive? What visualizations can I use? Like what can I visualize and see that would be supportive? What smells and what tastes, in terms of clearing our energy and really letting go of the day's work, like letting go of it's great to support people and to hold space for them when they come with different challenges, but we don't need to hold on to all of that, especially if we're listening to 3, 4, 5+ people a day. We don't need to do that. So a few things that I've learned over the years, and this is just what has worked for me. This is not that there's no one way to do things. Like, it's really important that you find what works for you. And there are many different ways to go about things. So for me personally, this is what I've found works. First thing first, like really on a very practical level, logistical level, I never schedule back-to-back sessions. There's always a little room, like a breather in between, whether that's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like there's something there. Because if I finish one call and straight away have to go into another call, that's too much. That's too much for me personally. So for some people do that, like some therapists, they literally have one after the other after the other. But for me personally, if I don't have any pause in the middle and any point to really just come back to myself and my body and my breath, just to take a deep breath in and out, and just to really have that moment to center in between clients, then that I'm not able to be fully present with the next client. So I always have that little pause in between. So that's something that I care for myself in terms of the physical. And in terms of like movement as well. So like really noticing, okay, like what movement's helpful. If I'm spending a lot of time in front of the computer, maybe I can stand up. Today I'm doing the live class standing up. So it'll be interesting to notice like what differences you notice compared to last week's live where I was sat down compared to this week's. And just like having something that is a little bit more embodied and that I can really be in my body. Sometimes I need to stand up because sitting in front of the computer, there can be a tendency to raise the shoulders and tense everything up when it's many, many hours. And what I do sometimes is if I need to move my body and move my energies, I have a little mini trampoline next to me and one of those little like small ones that you can have inside the house, and I bounce on the trampoline. That helps to move everything, move the energy. Sound. This can really help. So if we notice that we've been holding on to tension, or we notice that we've just been in a holding space for a difficult topic, or the client's going through a difficult, challenging thing, or we feel we just need to release and let go of some energy that we picked up on, then sighing, making a sound can really be helpful. So inhale, like really making a sound with the exhale. And you can do that as much or as little as you want. So yes, in terms of like, those are like a few things that can be really helpful. Though when we're working with energy, there's sometimes like for some people this can be very like, ooh, out there, like this is all a bit too woo-woo spiritual. I like it to be very like any spiritual practice that I go into, any energetic practice that I go into, I like it to be really grounded, simple and clear. I don't need all of the fancy bells and whistles and this and that, the other, though sometimes it can be fun, is not necessary. Like the most powerful thing is the intention. So in between client sessions, or when you've come out of a conversation with a difficult conversation with a loved one, or you've been in an environment that felt a bit dense and heavy to you, like having that intention, just setting that intention that, okay, I'm going to clear my energy now. And almost like it's like the intention with the visualization, connecting with the visualization. So you have that intention, and then often what I do is I visualize like there's this waterfall of light energy just washing away everything. And then I bring in the sound. And this might sound ridiculous to some people, though for me, it feels great. And if it feels great and it helps me to give the best sessions for clients, then I'll continue doing it. For some people, you may have some other things that you tend to do. Though this can be a really wonderful way to be like just really like letting go. Sound, so it can be that exhale, can be that sound and that letting go, but also any form of sound can disrupt the energy field. And again, this is, I'm not going to go into the science, but you can see this like when you look at sound wave particles, and when there's like a big bang or a clap or something, it will disrupt what's happening in that environment. So if you're doing in-person sessions, this can be especially helpful to clap or click your fingers or like make some sound. Or if you want to get the rattle out, you can, or some bells and gongs or Tibetan bowls, something to shift the energy. So that could be for yourself or the space that you're working in. Now, this is especially helpful in person, though it can also be when you're doing sessions online. Sometimes you need to do that as well. And then we can bring in the smell. So like with the senses, that we're going through all the different senses. So the sound, the movement, like the kinesthetic, the movement, the visualization, and then the smell, and then the taste. So perhaps there are some senses, some smells, some scents that are helpful for you, some essential oils or incense, a candle, scented candle, like a natural scented candle, different things like that that can help. And then taste as well, like coming back to that physical groundedness, like what you put into your body, what you eat, what you drink also has an impact on your self-care. So all these different senses, each one of those can be a starting point, can be an avenue for tending to your needs, your physical needs, your emotional needs, your mental needs, and your energetic needs. So a few things that I personally do. So I mentioned about the sound and that waterfall. Sometimes I will click my fingers like in the space, like especially if I'm doing in-person sessions, I will do that before and after in the room. I find that really helps. And also I'm very mindful about what I eat and what I drink. I don't drink alcohol. I haven't drunk alcohol for 15 years plus or more, like apart from maybe the odd sip at a wedding of champagne. So I don't drink alcohol. And the reason being for that is that alcohol for me is very ungrounding. It disconnects and it ungrounds. Some people can tolerate it more than others, though if most people are honest with themselves, they can notice a difference of when they've had a drink or two, that they notice some change in themselves. Sometimes they like that extra confidence that perhaps they perceive alcohol as giving, though it's a false sense of confidence. It's not the true sense of confidence. It's not building on your self-esteem. And there are many, many, many things that alcohol does to negatively affect us at many levels, mentally, emotionally, physically. There's so many so many things that's not so helpful for. So it's not to say that you can't ever drink, because everyone's free to do what they want. Though I really feel that if you're in the wellness space and you're doing one-on-one sessions with people, that is something especially to be mindful of. So I would not drink alcohol, especially like during the week when you're seeing clients, though that's my personal opinion. So food and drink and like what we're consuming. Are we consuming lots of refined sugars? Are we consuming lots of stimulants? Are we consuming lots of like caffeine at an excess? Like all of this has an impact. And then really noticing, okay, so that's what we're putting in. And then also noticing, like, where am I placing myself in terms of the environment? Am I going in nature? Am I creating a creative, lovely environment to work in, or for the clients to come in and have the sessions if you're doing them in person? So it's like, what's the environment? Like, what's happening in the environment? Is that nourishing? Is that helpful? and moving the body, the exercise. So there's many different levels, and of course this is just a quick little call, though there's many different things that can help, and it's just getting curious. It's like, okay, so I've got all the senses. Are there any senses that perhaps I'm not paying attention to? Are there any that can help me in terms of feeling grounded and centered? Most of the time it just starts with the breath. It's like coming back to the breath and really noticing that contact of the feet against the ground. And even just with like a slight bend of the knees and that exhale, that can be so powerful in itself. Though if you need extra things, as I mentioned, that waterfall of light, using sound to let that go, having that intention or visualizing that can be really beneficial. Moving the body, so like going on the trampoline, dancing, moving, stretching, that can all help. And just having that intention that whatever was in the session, that remains there, that you don't need to pick up the backpacks from all the clients. I mean, obviously you make a few notes if you need to, and have the awareness, like if you're going to continue more sessions with them, you're aware of what happened in the previous session, take that to the next session. But in between that time, you don't need to carry that luggage. That can be something that's put down. So there's many other things, but I feel that that's a good starting point. I personally, at the end of every single day, do a little energetic practice, and I imagine that waterfall, I connect to that light. I imagine this like beam of light going through my body, connecting with the light of my heart, and I'm connecting to the earth as well, and receiving the nourishment from the earth. And as I'm doing this, I'm connecting with the breath the whole time. And then I imagine that anything that I picked up on throughout the day, that I let that go, it then goes, gone. It's setting that intention. And those of you who are more logically minded, you may be thinking, well, yeah. Though it's all about finding what works for you. Perhaps for you, it's simply just stepping outdoors, going for a walk. Perhaps for you, it's going for a run. Perhaps for you, it's going for a swim. Perhaps it is jumping on the trampoline. There are many different things that can be useful. Those are a few things. So there are many more, though I'd love to hear like what you do. Like if you do work with clients, what do you do? What do you find that helps? What do you find that's useful for you to really maintain your energy levels as you're working with clients and to be grounded and centered? Often it starts with the breath, as I so often say. So we'll leave it there, and I'd love to hear your shares on this. So please do leave a comment and your shares. I'd love to hear what you do, what you find helpful. And this will be the last class before the summer break. So I'm going to be away all summer. This is something like if you live in other countries, this might be a little hard to understand, but here in Spain, because it's so hot, we close everything down in August. Most things, not everything. And I'm actually going to be traveling as well with family and doing finishing off my embodiment coaching training, and also doing some dance workshops as well. So there'll be many things over the summer. So these lives will come back in September, and I will communicate exactly when, like what day and what time they will come back, because the day and the time may change. So if you have any preferences, then please do let me know. Let me know in the comments, or let me know on social media if there are any preferences on when you would like these lives. That would be great to know. And I will keep that into account, though the time and day may vary slightly. So that's what's coming up in September. And we also have a really, really wonderful women's circle in September as well, the 19th of September. that will be all about Mary Magdalene. And the day of this going live is actually considered as the Feast of Mary Magdalene, a special day of remembrance of Mary Magdalene. So just putting that out there. You'll find the link in the description if you're curious to learn more about the teachings of her and have that in a women's circle, then that'll be in September in Barcelona. So I wish you a wonderful, wonderful summer. Whatever you're doing, I'd love to hear what you're up to this summer. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And yeah, if you want any extra bits of information, there's plenty of replays here on YouTube, and there's the podcast as well. So there's plenty to keep you occupied over the summer if you want any insights, any top tips to help go through the summer, and when you're dealing with different things that perhaps for the summer some people can find it a bit more challenging. So that's all there for you. So thank you so much for being here. Wishing you a wonderful week, a wonderful summer, and I'll be back in September.